are back with WHHI-TV TV, and I am delighted to introduce you to Jared.Fralix, who is the Assistant County Minister here in Bluffton. And what we're going to talk about are a lot of different things, but number one I really want to talk about is the American Rescue Plan Act, because that is such an important national project and has it dispensed through our country and our states. I still don't understand the application to us in particular. So Jared is going to give us the opportunity to ask him lots of questions to help us understand that. So why don't we just start off with what is the plan? What is the act? What's the inception?
Yep. So this came out as a law that was signed into law by President Biden on March 11th of 2021. And this was a $1.9 trillion, with a T, trillion dollar law that put an emergency relief package together for coronavirus. So in that law, there was a couple things that it appropriated funds. Out of that was $350 billion to local governments. So local governments obviously are the ones that are working on the local level, and basically that money is to fund their operations and immediate response to COVID-19.
So let's break down how that money is being used right here in Beaufort County, and you're going to share with us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I have a document too.
Yeah, for later. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of that $350 billion, there was over 19,000 municipalities and local governments that was apportioned out to. So every government, both the county and the municipalities here in Beaufort County, received an apportionment. Ours at Beaufort County was $37 million. So we've received half of that so far, and we'll receive the second half in May or June of this year. And then it's upon us to appropriate that money. There was some guidelines in the law as far as what are you to use that money for. Most importantly was the immediate response for COVID-19 and health issues, and as well as loss of revenue that was at the public sector level. So if the local government had a loss of revenue and had to withdraw with services to provide, this fund is to help that local government in that manner. So those are the two major points. Also economic stimulus, those that were hit hardest, so finding ways to help those citizens, as well as long-lasting COVID systemic approach to COVID-19.
And we talked about that off camera too. And also, putting funding projects for sustainability for the future. So there's a lot of prongs to this. So as you assess what we need in our area, can you give us some examples? I mean, I read the paper and I'm always wondering, so what does this mean?
Yep.
Who are you helping, and how does that all apply?
Yeah, well, what we did, we first created a task force and said, you know what, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We want to make sure we're good stewards of this money.
Can we ask who's on the task force? Like, who do you pull in?
So we pulled in all of our public stakeholders that work with Beaufort County. So all the municipalities, law enforcement, health, Beaufort Memorial, education, so the school district and higher education, TCL and USCB, utility partners, mass transit. So all of those public entities that work and operate in our local region. So they were part of the task force, and we met several times to help develop what are these needs, what are these long-lasting needs that we could use this money to influence. So out of that, we developed some projects and some key focus areas, one of them being workforce. That's a common thread that we hear at workforce and affordable housing. Right. So I'm excited that part of one of the projects is that we're capitalizing the fund. We have a regional housing trust fund that's in the works of being developed. So that's one of the projects that we're putting our apportionment as the county towards that. Another program is a CNA. So health sciences is something that we've heard a lot of through this task force process. So developing a program with the school district and TCL and Beaufort Memorial. How do we get more entry-level health science professionals for the immediate need to service our area? We have an aging population in Beaufort County, so that's a good first step. And once they're in that medical field, then they can grow into RN or a BSN or whatever they choose, whatever path. But getting that immediate influx of workforce has been something.
I'm really impressed. It's just that the multiple factions that it takes to sort of put this together, and all the people are coming together. Do you find that everybody's working well together? They're communicating? Do you find?
Yeah.
I think this community is so unique that we have everybody communicating and going in the positive direction. I mean, we interview education, government, all these people, the factions. And I'm always impressed that what can we do to help the next person, potential businesses coming in, and how we can educate the workforce to have them, have jobs, and these people have people to employ. So that I think that's so wonderful. So then, where do we go from here? What's our next step?
So we're working with council right now as far as preparing the staff recommendations for all of these different projects. Included in workforce is one bucket, economic development is a bucket, as well as recreational facilities, and how do we create long-lasting projects, something that we don't always have money for, that we've been wanting to do for a long time but haven't been able to, is one of the trends that we're trying to use this money for. So we're working through council and providing them staff recommendations and getting some feedback and finalizing that list. And once we have that list finalized, which we hope to have here soon, then we'll be actually executing and implementing these projects. So we're continuing to develop the CNA program, some regional recreation projects, some infrastructure projects. So we've moved from development of the concepts of the programs and projects that we'd like to take on to actual implementing, and that's kind of where we're moving into now.
That was what I was going to ask you. You're at that stage now. We're going to start to be implementing those things, and so that's so much great information that
I know, I'm digesting it all myself.
Yeah,
and there's
and
a
I know
lot going on.
And we have more. And their next segment, we're going to stay right here because we're going to talk a little bit about some of these specific projects with Jared. So stay right here for more 843 TV.